Hello, I'm Robin Bresnark, the Brand and Creative Director at Buyapowa. Welcome to Referral Marketing MVPs, where it's my privilege to speak to some of the people at the coalface of referral marketing, the real people who make it happen. Over the course of this series, we're going to speak to lots of different people, lots of different brands. We'll ask them how they got into referral, why they chose it, what they've learned, what mistakes they made, where they see referral going in the future. It's great fun. We've had some incredibly interesting and insightful chats with people. I think you're going to really enjoy it. So, particularly if you're thinking of trying referral for the first time, or maybe you've been doing it for a while, but you've kind of hit a plateau, this is masterclass stuff. So back, enjoy, and stay tuned to our channel where there'll be more of these over the coming weeks and months.
I'm Jacob Tice from Tacoma, Washington, working at Trupanion Incorporated. We are a pet insurance organization based out of the Seattle area, and I am the senior marketing specialist in charge of our Refer a Friend program.
So is all of Trupanion sort of based in the Pacific Northwest? Is that your home for Trupanion?
So that is Trupanion's headquarters. Yes, we're up in the south part of Seattle.
That's why you're the nicest pet insurance company in the world. You see, this is the thing, right? I don't want to be going and insuring I've got a Frenchie and a Pugalier, and I don't want to be getting insurance from people in Boston. I don't want that at all.
No, it's a Seattle headquarters certainly does set a certain tone. And I'll say we were also founded in Canada, in Vancouver. This is where our original headquarters was, and our founder is a Vancouver native.
Equally lovely people. We have colleagues in Vancouver, and they're all delightful. They're a bit too delightful. It's slightly nauseating. But how lovely. Trupanion is an amazing brand. Because there is that warmth there. I was kind of looking at it, and there is. I get the feeling with Trupanion that it started with a mission, and the mission is to actually take care of people's pets the way they would take care of their own pets. Like, if you could invent an insurance company for your pet, you would want it to be like this. I think that, there seems to be, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's all smoke and mirrors, then do let me know. But the vibe I get is you won't get that experience of people going, oh no, sorry, it's not covered. That's really unlikely to happen. It's, you're covered no matter what. The payment is really easy. All of those things that you want at times when, it's a stressful experience going in and taking your pet to the vet. So you kind of want a brand that really looks out for you. Now, the reason I mention all this is because how do you get that across in marketing without it just being, yeah, we're amazing, we're great, like, because everyone says that. And I'm putting words in your head, but I'm kind of thinking, because we're here to talk about referral, I'm thinking that's where referral probably plays a huge part, right? Because it's only by existing customers saying, how they say, like, everything's covered and they don't take months to pay you back. That actually happened to me with my cat. So I'm assuming that's the kind of the main thinking behind you guys trying referral in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, in any market, having your friend come to you and say, "This is a brand that I trust. This is a brand that's had a real impact on my life personally," is such a compelling thing to hear. Stronger and more from the heart than any pitch from a marketing department. If your mom, if your aunt, if your best friend comes to you and says, "Trupanion saved my pet's life," and you should work with them. They can help. That is as compelling as anything you'll see. I'll say that a lot of our marketing efforts are actually directed towards our hospital partners and our veterinarians for largely the same reason. Where uh, if that testimonial is coming to you from an expert that you trust, from the doctor who's been taking care of your pet um, for their entire life, and you bring in a new puppy and they say you need to get Trupanion for this dog. That's a voice you're going to trust. That's a voice you're going to listen to, and rightly so. So we focus in our marketing efforts on fostering those really strong, positive relationships with our hospitals and clinics, with the veterinarians and their staff in those hospitals and clinics, uh, to really have them be our advocates on the ground in the moment, speaking to clients who trust them, and patients who have been working with them for years.
Right. In terms of activating people, is that when do you tend to do that? Do you do that when people first come along? So it's a new member. Do you call them members? Right. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So you have a new member. Do you get them then or after they've received treatment? Is that a good time to say that went okay, right? Or do you find that maybe emotions are running too high? Again, it's the sort of sector where actually it's very emotional. You sort of need to be a little bit careful about those things. But when do you find people are more likely to refer, and when would you sort of encourage them to do that?
We encourage them to refer after they've had a really strong experience with us, for one, and after that initial enrollment period.
Right.
So if they've been talking to our vets, one of our main priorities is to bring in younger pets. You know, the younger the pet is when they enroll, the fewer pre-existing conditions they'll have, the more things will be covered over the course of their life. So we really encourage people to enroll their pets as quickly as possible after they've adopted them, after they've picked them up from a breeder.
Yeah.
That first hospital visit is when we really want to see them enroll so that they can get the absolute most out of their coverage.
Right.
And so for us, when we're talking about referrals, that means as a part of their enrollment process of getting oriented and familiar with Trupanion, with our coverage, with our policies, those are the moments where we're like, hey, if we know that this is something that you're going to love and use, and you should bring your family, bring your loved ones, bring your friends in along with you because they'll love it too. And again, that same thing applies. That same thinking of the sooner the better, the younger the better, so that we can cover the most. We are proud of the extent of our coverage, the breadth of our coverage, and as you mentioned earlier, the ease with which it can be deployed. Like we we are not in the business of turning claims down. We're in the business of saving pets.
Right.
So our our ideal client is someone who, has just adopted their puppy or kitten. They're bringing them in for that first examination with their vet, um, and the vet says, "Hey, while you're here, you gotta enroll with Trupanion."
Right.
Mhm.
And you got to tell your friends as well.
And you gotta tell your friends. You
Right.
need, like, the stories that we hear from later on, after someone has, my mom told me I had to get Trupanion, and I did, and so now whenever I'm even a little bit nervous, I can take my pet into the vet. Those kinds of stories are so huge, and we know that when you hear that sort of thing from a friend, when you're able to get that compelling firsthand
Yeah.
testimonial, and you're able to use, say, a referral link or something like that, where your friend gives you a method to enroll, those memberships last longer. That trust is
Okay.
built much more quickly. Those are our stickier members who are gonna stay with us a long time, and they'll refer their own friends. It becomes this kind of chain of referrals that people build over time.
Yeah, that's something I specifically wanted to ask you about, but while we're on it, let's do that. So you find that the customers, the members that come in through referral are actually better quality members in terms of lifetime value and
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. In terms of tenure, lifetime value, they become advocates for the brand themselves. All of that is kind of heightened when they have been brought in by a friend or a loved one.
Right, and on the other side, I guess the referrers stick around as well, because it's kind of weird to ask your friends to do something, then back out yourself, right? Um, Someone I was speaking to recently, I said it's like asking all your friends to a party and then you're the first to leave. You kind of don't do that, right? Um, but eventually you end up with your own little gang of you and the 15 pet owners, and you all have that in common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think there and it we try to foster kind of a culture and a community amongst our members, sort of driven by our all of our shared love for pets.
correct.
Where, that's throughout our brand tone is a focus on the human pet bond and how we all kinda share that in common.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because with pets, you naturally gravitate to other people that have them. I think of like, I have a couple of dogs. I go out, I walk the dogs. I know everyone in the local park who also has dogs. I don't know anyone else in that park. That'd be kind of weird if I went up to people who are kind of, playing on the swing sets or something. That's not something I'm gonna do. But I will go up to the lady with the with poodles and have a chat with her. So you in a funny way, again, the product itself lends itself to making friends, discovering things and sharing things in a community, which, perhaps doesn't happen with a lot of the other products we use in life. You don't have conversations about the bank you use, I suppose, with strangers, but you do when it comes to pets.
Yeah, you absolutely do, and you always I mean, people love telling stories about their pets, and if we can create positive experiences in those stressful moments, when you are nervous about something and you have those barriers to going to the vet
Mm.
lowered for you. And you can say, I'm a little bit nervous about this and I have Trupanion. So I can take my pet to the vet, no problem. They'll be able to take a look at it and let me know if it's anything to worry about. On the other side of that, it's almost hard not to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you come out the other end, you're like, my pet is in a better place now. The process was so easy. I'm going to tell everybody. I'm going to tell everybody with the pet that this is the way that this is the way you've got to do it.
Yeah, passion products in general are kind of no-brainers. So I know the program actually, full disclosure, Trupanion is a Buyapowa client. I think you had a program even before you guys worked with us. That might have been before your time as well, though. How far back does your knowledge go of the Trupanion and its referral activities?
Well, yeah, our referral program does predate me, as does our relationship with Buyapowa. With Buyapowa about a year or so. But prior to that, we had an ongoing referral program for many years. For this very reason, that it's something we really wanted to harness, the passion of our members for their pets, the closeness that they feel with other pet owners in their life, uh, because our mission and one of the things that we can really drive to our members is saving pets. And so if we can help our members save the pets that they love to visit, that's huge for us. Like you love going over and playing with your best friend's dog. You love playing with your siblings' dogs, your siblings' cats. And we can put our members in a position of being able to help protect those pets for the long term. And that by itself is a very compelling sort of activation, I would say.
Right. When you guys and again, were you guys working with us before you personally came on the scene, or I just don't want to ask you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But are you aware of kind of? I guess there was a revamp of the program when he switched supplier, I suppose, or platform.
Sure.
Um, what do you have much knowledge of what you guys were on the lookout for when you kind of did that reformatting?
Yeah, I would say one of the largest things that we were looking for was a diversity in of choice of incentive.
Okay.
So our referral program, it's fairly straightforward. Like a lot of the value is saving and protecting the pets that you love to visit. And also, as a little thank you from Trupanion, we offer a $25 gift card to our member when their friend reaches a certain point in the quoting journey, just far enough along to have really investigated Trupanion. We'll reward our member, and we wanted to have more options for how that reward got delivered. So Buyapowa has a wide array of different choices, different ways that little $25 reward can be distributed, and that was something that was really compelling to us.
I think we're up to 5,000 choices now.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild, and a lot of them, have some pet themes around them.
Yeah.
Some things that can really speak directly to our members, that really, reach them where they are.
I'm waiting for a client to offer all 5,000, and I'm waiting to see the size of that email or that reward choice landing page. It's
The
like,
reward charts
yeah,
landing page.
you
It's an endless scroll. Pick what you want.
I like that you guys have got Tim Hortons on there. I think there's something kind of brilliant. That's one of your available rewards, and again, it's thoughtful. It's thought through and it's thoughtful because the idea is get yourself some energy when you take those dogs out for that morning walk when you really can't be bothered. Get some coffee in you, and it shows that you know there's human beings behind us who've actually put some thought into it rather than it just being here's a generic one size fits all, because one size doesn't fit all. That's the thing, and particularly when it comes to pets, all kinds of people own pets, right? There are going to be people that want an Amazon gift card, absolutely. There's going to be people that want a Visa card. There are going to be people that want a damn cup of coffee in the morning and a
Sure, a
donut.
cup of coffee and some Timbits for
Yeah,
that walk, and, we're proud of our Canadian roots. That's something we were really excited to
right.
bring to our Canadian members, because that's something that we're proud of in our history.
So you cap as well. So referrers can introduce 4 people on a rolling calendar year. I think that's right, isn't it?
Yes, for people over a 12-month period and be rewarded for them. I'll say that we have some referrers, some power referrers in our program who are just constantly talking to their friends about Trupanion.
Right.
And some of those people work in veterinary clinics, they're vet techs, they're receptionists who are in the clinics talking to clients, talking to people bringing in their new pets, and those are huge referral points for us. And there are also just people who have been with us for a really long time, who have a depth of experience with Trupanion, with our coverage, and with kind of how those success stories play out, who are passionate about spreading the word.
That's the interesting thing about caps. I think sometimes people think, well, we don't really want to cap it at something like 4, 5, 10, because we think people can do hundreds. Well, they will. They
Yeah.
will. You just don't have to reward them after a certain point. I'm not saying you can't. I mean, that's great. And, I'm kind of an advocate of things like surprising and delighting people. But if they achieve 500 referrals for you, go, there's something you can probably throw their way, in an
Sure.
informal kind of way, because that's always fun to do. But the good thing about having an achievable cap like that is it actually inspires people to do those 4. You get to 1 or 2, you go, well, I get another couple in there. It's kind of like inverse FOMO. And what we tend to find is I haven't looked at the data for yours, but I bet people that are on 3 get to 4 quicker than they get to the first one or the second one, because it's just that I kind of got to complete the set. It's a Pokemon in of these things. It's like I've got to catch all my referrals.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's something that you can keep track of
hmm,
on, your referral landing page from Buyapowa will tell you that, "Hey, you're at 3, you're 1 away from that cap. Why not close it out?"
right.
Why not bring in that 4th person?
So another detail that I noticed on your program, which I really love, is that I'll backtrack a tiny bit. So a lot of our clients, a lot of people that do referral, are very strict, and sometimes for legal reasons, that you have to be an existing customer, which is great.
Mhm.
There are totally times when that applies. There are also times when that doesn't really make an awful lot of sense. Like, I might not use a particular product myself, but other people have told me how great it is. So when a friend of mine is in the market for that, I'm going to want to naturally tell them about it. There are plenty of products for women, for example, that I may not have had use of, but my wife or mother might raps about that stuff every day. So when the time comes, why shouldn't I refer? That kind of doesn't make sense to me. But what I really like about you guys is that you do want people to have had an experience of Trupanion. I think that's sensible. But you can be a past member as well. You could be between pets. Because I think there's an awful lot of people that, sadly, we all lose our pets. It's the nature of the thing. But just because you're personally between pets at a particular time in your life, that doesn't mean that everyone around you wouldn't still benefit from your experience.
Right, and our members maintain access to their portals, to their policy numbers, to their personal referral pages, even if they don't have an active pet with us. So yeah, if you're between pets, if you've uh, lapsed a little bit, uh, we are still happy to have you share the word with your friends and family, because again, the most important thing here is saving as many pets as possible, is getting as many pets protected as we can, and that's something that, we share with our members on a regular basis, and, we try to live it too, with if you've had a Trupanion experience, an authentic Trupanion experience, then we are excited to have you spread the word.
Yeah, and it's morbid, it's sad, it is part of life, but often people's best experiences of hospitals and vets is at the end of their pet's life because, the extraordinary care you are I mean, I've been there, that I've been treated really, really well at a time when I was very fragile. So again,
Yeah.
these are times actually when, it's a very sad time, but you you're still a great evangelist at that point. It makes sense to still allow people to tell their friends about your service. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of those moments where Trupanion shines, in that with the white glove service that we offer, our 24/7 customer service that are almost all, um, have experience in the veterinary community or are pet owners themselves, it's a group of people that really understand, that truly understand each of those different phases, from the excitement of bringing home a new kitten or puppy to those more sorrowful and introspective moments towards the end of a pet's life.
Yeah. Um, Again, I love looking over your program because there's so many tiny little details which I found incredibly thoughtful and really appreciated. So I think for legal reasons, you can't incentivize someone to transact. That's right, isn't it? So the friend gets the benefit of a great service, right? And that's absolutely fine. But what I really like is that you don't hide away the fact that the referrer is going to get a reward in your communications to the new customer. I think that's really cool. So it'll be, you know, and if you get this quote, Debbie's going to get a small thank you from us. The reason why I think it's really cool, and again, people might hide that away, and they might think, oh, there'll be jealousy there. It's like, well, how come they're getting something and I'm not? But that's actually not the way the human mind works. It's. I did a piece a few years ago on the psychology of referral, and this is a classic example. It's called the norm of reciprocity. The idea that if someone does you a solid, your brain kind of gets all squirmy and uncomfortable until you can repay that favor. Um, we, as human beings, we sit uneasily until we can sort of pay back an emotional debt. So, in telling the friend that the referrer is going to get something, that actually really does push them through the whole getting the quote process because of kind of very deeply set psychological principles. Now, that all sounds a little bit callous. The end result is people get great coverage and someone gets a reward and everything's really nice. So there's nothing actually sinister about that. But I think it's very, very smart to do that.
Yeah, it's a sense of reciprocity, like we're for one, it's an honorarium. It's $25. We're not buying anybody a new house,
Right.
and as well, the relationship between the member and their referee is something that we're counting on being strong. Where they're happy to see um, the person who got them into our great coverage, get a little something for their efforts. Like that's not we haven't. To my knowledge, I don't think we've ever experienced anybody reaching out to us and being like, "Well, why didn't I get this?" Or, I can't believe you're like. It's something that's understood as practically a little honorarium. Just a tip of the hat for bringing another pet into our pack, for adding those couple of extra years to the end of a pet that, again, our members love to visit and love to play with.
Right. Um, so let's talk about, well, I mean, some numbers. We won't go into specific numbers. All this stuff's private, of course. But has it been successful in terms of costs? Are you finding that the acquisition cost for a new member through this channel is better than other channels?
Yes.
Okay.
In short, yes, that's certainly measurable. Our, um, cost per acquisition for a referral pet is significantly lower than we see in other channels, and a part of that is because a big bolstering for the program is simply the reliability, the quality, and the service that we provide.
Right.
That those costs are baked in throughout the organization, so that final little extra bit of bringing somebody new on is bolstered by all of these underlying, fixed costs that are elsewhere applied. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, at the end of the day, what's really driving our referral program beyond, the little reward, the email nudges, and things like that. What drives our referral program is the quality of experience that our members have. And that's something that, yeah, doesn't bear a lot of its own independent costs.
Right. In a sense, it's formalizing something which organically happens anyway. But one of the nice things about
Yeah.
referral is you can actually track something that historically you couldn't track. You know, so in and of itself, as a marketer, it's just very nice to actually be able to put numbers behind things like that. How much are people talking? Uh, you know, People that have come in, we know this is through word of mouth. Do they convert more readily than other people? Is that something that you find if someone has like hit your landing page because of a referral, are they more likely to convert than someone that comes in for another channel? Is that another?
Yes,
Yeah,
those conversions are a lot higher. And once someone has kind of taken that step and followed their friend's referral link through to our quote page, we find that they are much more likely to complete the quote and much more
right.
likely to go on to enroll than someone who sort of stumbled across it in a Google search or was running through a bunch of comparisons that are maybe a little more clinical and a little more generic than someone and trust giving you access to that quote page, which is really sort of what the first step of our referral program is, right? Is you can use my link. You don't go to a generic page, trupanion.com/referral, whatever. You use Michael's link. You use Carol's link that she has given you to do that. And we think that also that little extra bit of personalization is compelling in its own way.
And not just their link, but when you hit the page, their name is there.
Yeah,
You
their name is there.
right,
We're excited, like, they're excited to see you join. We use that personalization throughout the journey,
right.
um, both for the referrer and the referee when we're doing maybe gentle nudges like, "Hey, you started this as a" and Janet is really looking forward to you being a part of this program, and,
Yeah,
uh, that too is not smoke and mirrors. We firmly believe, and we've seen in our experiences, that people are excited to have their friends and family join.
yeah.
Because there is a sense of peace of mind, a sense of
Mhm.
satisfaction in, again, protecting those pets, giving loving pet parents a better option for long-term protection for their pets.
Right, and for your friends' pets who you have visited and tickled and love yourself. Yeah,
Exactly.
right. Um, Good. So cheaper to get in, more likely to convert, stay longer. It's pretty good. This all works. What are there any downsides or lessons that you guys have learned over the years? Things or advice that you might give to people who are starting out on referral?
Yeah, there's always kind of a balancing act between the extent you want to promote your referral program and the ease of its use, and let's the opportunities for people to misuse or use it in kind of a fraudulent way. So the more seamless and frictionless those processes become, the more vulnerable they become to people taking advantage of them. Particularly in our case, where we're not incentivizing after the enrollment. We're incentivizing prior to that point during the sort of investigative and quote generating process. Uh, and with that lower barrier to entry comes, some vulnerability to fraud and misuse. So
Right.
I'll say that's always something that you have to keep an eye on. Another piece of advice that I would give is like there are ways to go beyond just that $25 reward. One of the things that we like to do from time to time is offer just a little piece of branded merchandise or
Right.
something like that with our adorable little pumpkin logo on it, uh, and send that to members as a thank you. In addition to that $25, like if we're looking to really refer a friend in a particular moment, we'll reach into the cupboards and be like, "All right, well, what else can we offer our member?" That surprise and delight element, where
Okay.
you're always gonna get a $25 reward, but in this particular moment, maybe we'll give you a water dish with the Trupanion logo on it, or uh, bandanas with a fun design, a pet-centric design.
Yeah.
Like, one of the campaigns that we run on a fairly regular basis is to give 2 bandanas to a referring member so that they have the opportunity to share one with the friend that they refer,
It's a
you know?
lovely idea. Yeah.
Yeah, just build that bond a little bit, and try to spread that around. So, I think there are creative, uh little extra bits that can be tossed in, in addition to that standard. You always want to be consistent in that standard messaging. Like, anytime you send somebody our way, up to 40 in a 12-month rolling period, but anybody that you send our way, you're gonna get a little gift for it, and sometimes there's gonna be a little extra something in it for you. Not something tremendously valuable, but something sweet, something nice, something
Yeah.
that, yeah, will delight you.
Um, I've often thought actually one of the good things about referral is that you can be creative with it and you can weave it into things that aren't your referral program. And referral can actually provide a call to action on a whole bunch of stuff that you might otherwise do on social, where, a whole bunch of pictures, right? Sticking a whole
Ah,
bunch of pictures up. People want to stick a whole bunch of pictures up. That's really nice, but there's no actual call to action. And one of the good things, if you're in marketing, you want to produce content, and content's really, really good. I
yeah.
like referral because it actually does give an action for people at the end
Oh,
of it.
that's huge for us too. We, uh, one of our sort of annual campaigns is a photo contest where we ask people to submit images of their pets, and we bring it down to some finalists, and then allow, uh, the membership and friends of members to vote on the most beautiful pet picture. And as a part of that, we ask people to tell their Trupanion stories,
Right.
uh, and the call to action on the end of that, the therefore is, so you should join Trupanion. Like, here is this story of how, they saved my pet. They brought my pet back from the brink. Or, I've never had to worry
Yeah.
about it. We've never had to use it, but we're so grateful it's in our corner.
Yeah.
And therefore, you should join Trupanion. And I think you're absolutely right. There's a lot of content generation out there that sort of lacks that final part of the argument. That final therefore what?
Right.
Um and with a strong referral program, you always have that to reach for. You
Yeah.
can always say, uh, "Tell us your story, share it far and wide. We'll boost it. We'll give it an extra highlight." And as a part of that, therefore, you should also join Trupanion. You should join me at
Right.
Trupanion. You
Right.
know, and that little extra push on top of a powerful testimonial, on top of a beautiful pet picture, which is what the
Yeah.
internet was invented for, I think.
I believe so.
That's why we put it together. Now we have something where we can leverage those experiences to bring more people into the Trupanion pack.
Right. And the other side of that is once someone has, cover with you guys, there's not a whole lot more they can buy until they get another pet. Right. You're not going to take out two policies on one parrot. It's, so again, how do you actually keep your existing members engaged with the brand and, yeah, generating value for you as a brand? There's not really an awful lot more they can do, but they can get you more customers, they can get you more friends. So it's something you can continue to do, where your product is more subscription based. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I would say identifying specific moments in the journey where that is going to be the most compelling ask is an important part of building your referral program. So, for us, after a successful claim, after someone has, gone through the Trupanion experience, they've had their vet paid directly upfront, no waiting for reimbursement. Their pet is feeling better. They're feeling good about their interaction with us, with their veterinarian. Again, we have that opportunity to put that forward and say, therefore, you know,
yeah,
refer your friends. You've had this great experience. That's something that we know we can offer to your loved ones and your loved ones' pets as well. And so bring them in, and maybe earn $25 on the side.
yeah, maybe I not. But that if you imagine that you're a retail brand, it's really easy. when someone has a delightful moment, you enjoyed that mascara, try our hair straightening product. That's it's
Yeah,
so easy
yeah.
to upsell, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. You like those trainers, you want to try these trainers. That makes complete sense. Much harder to do when you have a product like yours. So in a way, referrals kind of be a godsend in that sense that it gives you something else that you can still talk to people about and keep them
Yeah,
engaged.
what's
And
the next step? What's
yeah,
now that I have this coverage, what's the next thing that I do while my pet is healthy, while we're out
yeah,
kind of at the park, hanging out with our friends? What can I do about Trupanion? Uh, and something that is always right at hand is, give them your link. Let them join via your testimonial, and then there's that extra satisfaction you have of, having saved another pet, having protected something that you love, that enriches your life.
awesome. My heart is full. I'm very uplifted. I'm going to go and tickle my dogs immediately. They need it. Maybe even a scratch. We will see. Um, it depends how good they've been while I've been out here. Jacob, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed that. I love your brand. I think that the work you do is, yeah, it comes from the soul, and it's a really valuable thing for the world. So thank you as a brand. Thank you as a person for chatting with me today. And yeah, I hope I'll speak with you again soon.